Capuchin?
What?
Yeah, it says Capuchin.
Gesundheit. Spell it.
Capuchin.
Capu.
Chin. Capuchin.
Capuchin. Capuchin. Is it French or Spanish?
It's French.
Yeah, probably Capuchin.
Okay, well, I'm American, so I'm saying Capuchin. He was the only man with the authority in New Orleans to carry out whippings, hangings, and death, or torture things.
Luca, you messed up Haran.
Behind the scenes content. You can find in my head, I'm glad he's not a part of that church in Nebraska. They would have killed him. That's what I'm thinking to myself while I'm reading this.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of From Art to Atoms,
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
I'm Brandon Shoemaker.
It's Michael.
And this week we are talking about, in the honor of spooky season, we're going to be talking about some of our hometown legends.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael, as he's frequently mentioned before, he is from New Orleans.
There's plenty of spooky stuff going on there.
Exactly. And I am from the Carolinas, so tons of stuff from the Revolutionary War and before and the Civil War and up through to today, in fact. But I think I'm going to limit my discussion of things to South Carolina today, just so that I'm not all over the place geographically, even though I've lived all over the place in the Carolinas. And Michael is struggling with some braces pain today with his...
it's not really pain. It's just this back wire is starting to come loose. So it's ripping into my gums. Mm-hmm. Not my gums, my cheeks.
Yeah. And if you've ever worn braces before, you know exactly what he's talking about. Do you have any wax on them?
No,
on it?
Not right now.
Oh, well, dummy, you should have put wax on it.
Yeah, but the wax is starting to become an issue too. Because whenever I eat, the wax comes off, and then when I brush my teeth, it comes off, and then it gets stuck in the shower, and it's...
In the shower?
That's where I brush my teeth.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you're supposed to take it off before you do all those activities.
It doesn't come off very easy. It's wax.
And then, well, yeah, but that's what the brush is for.
What brush? The toothbrush? Well, it comes off when I brush my teeth.
Yeah, you're supposed to reapply after you brush your teeth.
Well, it's fine.
Okay, well, sit there and suffer in pain then.
It is what it is.
All right. So do you want to start off the discussion or do you want me to?
Well, so are we doing real life things or just like folklore-y kind of stuff? Because I have both.
Okay. I've got both too then.
Okay.
So where do you want to start? Real life or?
It can be a mix-up.
Unknown.
It can be a mix-up.
Okay.
Like I have supernatural stuff and, some real things over here. So I can start first with my first one.
What's your first one?
So this is real. So these are real legends.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tale about Louis Congo.
I've never heard of him.
Okay. In 1718, 1762, that kind of era.
Okay.
So New Orleans at that time was still under French colonial law.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the founding of the city, that time frame.
Yeah.
And so there were a lot of people coming into the area. They had planters, enslaved Africans, the Europeans were coming in, soldiers, indigenous people from all different types of lands. And the colonial authorities were like, we want control.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want it to be ran amok and stuff like that. So one of the examples of one of these laws, I guess it's not really law, but the Code Noir. You ever heard of that?
Code Noir?
Mm-hmm.
So the Black Code?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
It was their way of controlling and law based on enslaved and freed Africans. So in 1725, officials gave an enslaved African the impossible choice of remaining enslaved or to serve in the public capacity as the executioner.
Oh.
And this was Louis Congo. Louis for Louisiana and Congo from where he was from.
Yeah.
He was given his freedom and a plot of land and rations of food and wine in exchange for his services as colonial executioner or
Wow.
colony executioner. He also earned a fee for each punishment he dished out. So this is going to kind of his term. He served for 12 years in this capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the only man with the authority in New Orleans to carry out whippings, hangings, and death or torture against the residents of all races. So he was really the one who was in charge of that in New Orleans. And so for a Frenchman accused of thievery,
Mm-hmm.
smuggling, or desertion, they were usually branded with a fleur-de-lis.
Oh,
So enslaved
at
individuals...
least it was decorative.
Yeah. I mean, it's the city symbol. So enslaved individuals that were accused of running away were punished according to all of the laws set out in the Code Noir, which stipulated branding, hamstringing, amputation of ears,
Mm.
and sometimes, after a third offense, death. The preferred method of capital punishment, regardless of race, was breaking on the wheel.
Oh, God.
The condemned was strapped to a wagon wheel. His bones were broken one by one with an iron cudgel. Cudgel. Cudgel.
Cudgel. Yeah.
Okay. And he was left to die with broken bones.
Oh.
I understand the pain in that one, but mine I think would have been the hamstringing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When
where
you said that, I just
they're
winced.
cutting the back of the heel,
Mm-hmm.
the tendons in the back of the heel. So that's one. So then moving on to the next one, and these are real stories, are real events.
Mm-hmm.
We look from the next one to when the Spanish controlled New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Well, wait. So whatever happened to Louis Congo?
He lived his life out after he served his time on his property and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
He earned his freedom basically by killing people.
Was he allowed to eventually retire, or?
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. which I would earn my freedom.
I mean, yeah.
I'd earn my freedom. So in the Spanish rule, because remember, New Orleans changed hands several times. It went from France to Spain, back to French, then to, I think, American. I think
Mhm.
the French, Louis the 14th or whatever, sold it to the Americans. So it was under like a lot of rule there.
I don't think I ever knew that it was ever under Spanish rule.
Mhm.
When was that?
1762 to 1803,
Oh, wow. Okay.
which is why you have a lot of Spanish influence there when you look at architecture.
Okay.
But so we're looking at 1762 during the 7 Years' War. France ceded Louisiana to its Bourbon ally, Spain,
Mm-hmm.
in the secret Treaty of Fontainebleau. And when French colonists in New Orleans received the news, very few were pleased. Fear and Spanish trade restrictions would ruin the local economy. A rebellion of urban elites and rural militias expelled the first Spanish governor, Antoine de Ulloa.
Spell it.
Ulloa.
Ulloa.
Okay. And that
Or-
happened about 6 years after Spanish rule happened.
Okay.
Okay. The following years, Spain sent military governor Alejandro O'Reilly to basically with an army,
Mm-hmm.
he had 23 ships, to restore Spanish authority in New Orleans. And O'Reilly had 5 of his leading conspirators executed in Fort St. Charles at the foot of present-day Esplanade Avenue and Frenchman Street. According to legends, the men were denied traditional Catholic burial rites by the cruel O'Reilly. Their devastated families solicited the aid of the priest of St. Louis Church. He eluded the Spanish guard in the dead of the night and transported the bodies for interment at St. Peter Street Cemetery. On certain foggy mornings in the alleyways of St. Louis Cathedral, like behind the cathedral on the sides,
Mm-hmm.
you may also catch a scrap of song and the sandaled footsteps of the singing Capuchin?
What?
Yeah, it says Capuchin.
Gesundheit. Spell it.
Capuchin.
Capu.
Chin. Capuchin.
Capuchin. Capuchin. Is it French or Spanish?
It's French.
Yeah, probably Capuchin.
Okay, well, I'm American, so I'm saying Capuchin. And so there's just some other ones like that. Those really aren't kind of too exciting.
Well, no, those they're the historical legends.
Yeah.
I'll start with going back to the Revolutionary era just like you did. So one of the biggest legends in South Carolina, and this is a historical legend, not a up for debate, is it or isn't it kind of a thing, but that would be the Swamp Fox.
Okay.
Which was the nickname given to Francis Marion, who was a general with the Revolutionary Army.
Mm-hmm.
And he was basically, he introduced the American army to guerrilla warfare.
Okay.
So, you got to think about, at that time, war was fought in a Napoleonic style where opposing sides met on a battlefield facing each other, rows and rows of troops with guns.
Mm-hmm.
And they would literally just take turns, one side firing into the other.
Yeah.
Which is, really sort of, they really did. They sort of looked at war almost like playing a game of chess.
Okay.
And if you look at it, they're even stood up and lined up the same way. And you would have the lower soldiers out in front, just like on a chessboard. You have the pawns in front protecting with their bodies, their lives, the more important people at the back. And so at the back, that's where the generals stood or rode their horses and whatnot. But Francis Marion said, this is just a way of butchering people.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if we're going to win this war when we don't have all the resources of England, we're going to have to fight smarter. And so he really started, the concept of guerrilla. I don't know that he started it, but he was the one who really introduced
guerrilla warfare,
the modern world, or well, at that time,
the term, I guess,
the modern world. Not the term. I think the term comes from South American fighters or something. But but anyway, he introduced that concept to America and thus to England as well, which was, hiding in the bushes and ambushing troops and things like that. And, stalking through the swamps of South Carolina and the Low Country and, sneaking up on troops and raiding campgrounds and things like that. And that's where he got the name Swamp Fox from, because he was like a fox that could just run through the swamp, run in, run out, and be gone before anybody could catch him. And that was also the basis for the Mel Gibson movie, The Patriot.
Okay.
Did you ever see that?
Yep. It's been a long time, but yeah.
Yeah. So that was really interesting is, teaching in South Carolina, when I taught English, I actually would teach The Patriot every year as a text when we were looking at our Literature of the Revolution unit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I was teaching down in Georgetown County, which is, on the coast, they would talk. There was one scene where I forget his name in the movie, but Mel Gibson's character, anyway, the guy based on Francis Marion, he and his troops stop this group of British soldier and they say, "This is the King's Highway." And every time I would pause it at that point and I would ask the kids, "Hey, where do you think they are?" Because there was a road literally just a mile from the school
called King's Highway.
And that was what that was. It was the King's Highway that sort of ran parallel to the coast.
Hey, we have a King's Highway here. It's the same thing.
Probably not. I don't know that King George's reach came all the way to Texas. But yeah, so, and there were lots of scenes pretty much all of that movie was shot in the Low Country of South Carolina. So one of the plantations that his sister-in-law, Aunt Charlotte's house, that was a plantation that was literally just down the street from when I taught at Carver's Bay. So that was always really cool for me. And so, yeah, the Swamp Fox was a significant legend to South Carolina, but also, I found it really interesting just being able to sort of teach about it right there all around where it happened. Because I didn't grow up in the Low Country. I grew up in the upstate. And so, I learned about Francis Marion, in history classes in elementary school and in high school, but then to go and, live at the beach for almost 10 years and live amongst it and teach about it, that was really cool for me, especially, with my mom having been a history teacher and, she instilled all that significance in me from an early age.
Yeah.
And so another historical legend of South Carolina is the legend of Lavinia Fisher. Ever heard of her?
Nope.
Okay, she is considered America's first female serial killer. South Carolina has a number of firsts in its arsenal, and they all seem to be for bad reasons. The first female serial killer, it was the first state to secede from the Union in the Civil War. Lots of first things. I mean, I say that tongue in cheek. There were lots of first things that happened in South Carolina that were good too, though they all sort of escape my memory at the moment. But Lavinia Fisher, she and her husband John ran what was called the 6 Mile House, which was sort of like not really a bed and breakfast, more just like what we would consider like a travel lodge today. You know, travelers just passing through would stop north of Charleston and stay the night there. And she would serve poisoned tea to her victims. You know, in the South, we love our sweet tea, but Lavinia liked it with a little something extra, it seems. And her victims, they were usually wealthy men, and she would put them in a special room with a bed that had a trap door beneath it, just like Sweeney Todd.
Okay.
In Sweeney Todd. And so once they were dead, they would pull a lever and the body would fall into a pit beneath the house. And then her husband, John, would rob the body of all of its money and anything else that they thought they could, you know, sell for money. Eventually, they were caught by one of the victims escaping, and he ran to the Charleston authorities and reported everything to them, and they found the bodies and everything that they had stolen. And Lavinia and her husband were executed in 1820. And according to local legend, her spirit haunts the Charleston jail where she was hanged.
Has anyone confirmed this recently? In the Charleston jail?
I don't know, probably. What was really cool, again, when I was teaching there, I had a student who told me this was when we were I used to teach with English 3. It was American literature, and so I would do an entire unit usually around this time of year that was focused on Gothic literature, so ghost stories and things like that.
Yeah. And
one of my students, he said while we were talking in class one day, he said, "Hey, my mom has a picture of a ghost." And I was like, "Well, bring it in. Where'd she take it?" And he said it was when she was visiting Charleston. She took a picture of a house, and in the second story window, or the top story, I don't know if it was only 2 stories, but in the top story window, you could see a face. And I said, "Well, bring this thing in." And he brought it in the next day, and sure enough, you could see what looked like, and usually you can write it off as saying, "Oh, that's a reflection," or "That's a camera flare," or something like that. Or even like a double exposure or something. This didn't look like any of those things. It definitely looked like something creepy and otherworldly. Mr. Skeptic over there.
Well, I mean, that stuff has kind of always been.
Oh, I know. It's easy, and it's easy to fake stuff like that. But this was clearly not something that they had gone to trouble to try to fake.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure.
Oh, ye of little faith.
I just don't believe in that stuff. We've already had that conversation.
Okay, your turn.
I'm going to talk now because, like, I know this one is the Rougarou. And so, each town, you know, like even up here, we have the Fouke Boggy Creek Monster, you know, our take on Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
We should do a whole episode just on that. The legend of Boggy Creek.
They ain't that much to do. But the Rougarou was basically, you know, in the swamps, there's a lot of different myths that come out of that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of it is a control thing. Like they want to scare kids into submission. You know, be good or you're going to get.
The Rougarou is going to come out.
Right. And that's what we were told as kids. My grandfather used to talk about Joel Rock also, but that's a whole different story. My grandfather made that up. We don't really think that Joel Rock was a real thing. He'd say it lived behind the curtains in the den.
Oh,
and he would shake the curtains sometimes. And we're like, oh, my crap. God. So
that's just
and
awful.
Then there was always like the under the stairs going up to the second floor of the house. That's where he used to keep like just storage, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember he used to tell us it was like that's where he lived. And we're like, I'm not going nowhere near that. But the Rougarou is Louisiana or South Louisiana's version of the werewolf. And so the werewolf, Rougarou, lived in the swamps. It had red, beady eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposedly stalking the bayous. It was part man, part wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And so it preys on those who don't follow the rules. And again, specifically those who break Lent, which is again one way the Catholics would use to control behavior.
Yeah.
And so in some versions of the tale, it's a cursed human trapped in a beastly form for 101 days unless they can pass the curse on to someone else. Which, if you think about Lent, 40 days, but I guess the thing is, if you ever find yourself in it, what you have to do, like if you ever come across him, because he'll curse you, and then you'll be stuck as him for 101 days.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is you have to stay silent about the encounter for a year and a day. And if you don't say anything to anybody for a year and a day, you will not have the curse passed on to you. But if you break silence, you become the next Rougarou. I guess it's like the king cake baby. Find the baby, you're the one who's got to host the next party. So if you come across the Rougarou in the swamps and you say something about it to somebody, you're the next one. So, but like modern day, this represents a lot of the fear of the unknown kind of stuff. And it serves a reminder that sometimes the scariest things are what we don't understand.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead, because there's a lot of different takes on mythical, not really mythical creatures, but those kinds of things.
Yeah.
From New Orleans. So like we have our own Sasquatch, like our own Bigfoot, the Honey Island Swamp Monster. And so again, this is just a Bigfoot type creature that had red reptilian eyes, webbed feet, and a body covered in thick gray fur. And the first sighting was in the early 1960s by a pair of hunters who, of course, didn't have a camera on hand. They probably had a couple of beers in their system, though. But locals say this monster was born from a wild love affair between escaped circus chimpanzees and alligators, which is why he's got his webbed feet.
That would be a wild
and reptilian eyes and a furry body. He's been blamed for everything from mysterious animal deaths to strange noises at night, but most people think that it's just a figment of some imaginations. So
has anybody spotted it since those original...
The 1960s? I have no idea. They probably have, but again, it's the same people that find the crop circles in the middle of their field.
Yeah.
And then the very next one...
Hey, crop circles are a very intricate art form. Thank you.
Yeah, I just don't understand why the aliens pick those people all the time to do it in their fields. Like, it's always the person who doesn't know how to film anything on camera that sees UFOs.
Yeah.
Because it's like the grainy, shaky video. Like, can you not pick someone who knows how to operate a camera? But, another one of these mythical creatures is, and this one's the freaky one to me, it's called the Grunge.
Oh.
And so this one is coming out of New Orleans. It's described in various ways, sometimes as a scaly reptilian humanoid with goat legs and horns and glowing eyes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Other descriptions talk of a group of inbred albinos or dwarves who lived in the bayou. I don't know, again, with my fear of little people, I don't know which one's worse. But the Grunge is said to be inspired by a mixture of stories about the Rougarou and local folklore and just kind of making their own thing up, So locals warn that if you ever out driving near Grunge Road and see a goat stranded on the side of the road, keep driving, don't stop. It could be a trap and you don't want to meet the Grunge up close. And I'm like, if I see a goat on the side of the road, it doesn't matter what road I'm on, I'm not stopping. I'm just going to keep on going. But again, that one taps into our fear of the unknown and strange things that might exist just beyond the city limits. In today's world, it's easy to dismiss these stories as mere entertainment, but there's something to be said for the urban legends. And they serve as a way of explaining kind of the unknown, and it's honestly, it's a good excuse not to pick up any goats from the side of the road. Like it just is.
Well, I mean, any sort of livestock that you see on the side of the road, if it's not yours, leave it where you found it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen those movies where you run over the cow or something like that, and then all of a sudden, what was the one with the reindeer? It was no. There was a horror movie that came out this past Christmas that basically they hit a reindeer and they put it in the back of the
came after
and
them?
they put it in the back of the trunk. And apparently they were going to a house where he was starting a job, and apparently the reindeer was the baby reindeer of two mythological demon reindeer. And so the demon reindeer came in to get their baby back. And so it was just this
What?
big. Yeah, it was. I'll have to find out what the name of that one was.
Oh, Lord.
It was very strange.
That's why I can't do most horror movies today, because they're just too stupid. But again, like, if you hit an animal on the side of the road and kill it, do you really stop and do something? Like, it's dead. I make sure it's dead and I keep on going.
I've never hit anything, knock on wood.
Oh, I have. It's very traumatic and disturbing. But no, so South Carolina also has some cryptid legends of their own. So South Carolina has the Lizard Man, which is, I mean, just that. It's a reptilian-looking, upright walking creature.
It's a half man, half lizard.
Yeah, that has glowing red eyes.
Why are they
and
always red? Like, is red part of the demon eye color or something?
Well, I guess so. Honestly, what it really is probably, lights reflecting off retinas. And there's also, I'm trying to, somewhere, I thought I had it here, but it may be at school. I have a book that's literally called Weird Carolinas.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about both the Lizard Man and I think there is a Wolf Man of the Carolinas as well, but I can't, but I think a lot of these sort of cryptid mysteries, I think are really just ordinary creatures that they're encountering under creepy circumstances, out in the woods in the middle of the night in the dark. That's a setting that's already going to have your imagination running wild.
Again, I think there's some alcohol or something invested in these stories.
That too. So if, if you're out in the middle of the woods in the middle of the night and you're already feeling kind of spooky, if something comes up along you and you shine a light and you see glowing red eyes, which is, their retinas reflecting back on you. Yeah, it's going to creep you out.
I don't know.
And then let your imagination go.
Yeah, but do you really want to be that person that has to explain that to people nowadays? They're going to lock you up.
Oh, please. Think about all the stupid and crazy things that people are saying today and nobody's locking them up either. So there is another, this one isn't technically a cryptid, like a crossbreed between a human and a creature or anything. Mm-hmm. This one's actually just a ghost, but this one is known as the Hound of Goshen in Newberry, South Carolina, which is in the upstate. And essentially, I mean, long story short, it's a ghost dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all it is. But people will see it on dark roads in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I think if I ever encountered a ghost dog, I would just want to make friends with it.
I mean, now if it's got red eyes.
I don't think this one has red eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, if it has red eyes, then maybe not. But
that's like those dogs off of Ghostbusters.
Oh, the monster dogs.
Yeah, the two beasts.
Yeah. Even them, though, they were kind of like...
No. What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Okay.
No.
I just like animals. What can I say?
That's fine.
Okay. So what's your next one?
All right. So mine, we just finished American Horror Story Coven.
Yeah.
With Mom.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite seasons.
There is a lot of lore there in that one from the city, And so Marie Laveau's in that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was a priestess that practiced voodoo in the city in the 19th century. So early 1800s. She was a free woman of color.
Yeah.
Which was interesting to me. But she basically was just a practitioner of voodoo.
Yeah.
And so voodoo itself right now has, modern day, has this kind of horrible vibe or stigma to it.
Mm-hmm.
But all it is to people is a religion.
Yeah.
It's just a different religion.
It's based on the West African religions, correct, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, she was a community service member. She did a lot of community service. She was very, in that time frame, a woman that had power, and she shouldn't have, just because she was a woman.
Right.
But a lot of the lore that comes behind her is what happened after she died, and it's just been made up to what it is nowadays. Yep. So there's her, and she is buried. You can still go visit where they think she's buried. They don't know for sure in St. Louis, #1. But you can go visit her grave site and stuff like that. Another one from American Horror Story was the La Lauralie Mansion, or the house that's in the French Quarter.
Yeah.
That's where...
La Laurie?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. Where Delphine...
Yeah. Madame Delphine.
Basically tortured her servants.
Yeah.
And we're talking like excruciating torture.
Yeah.
And so that house right there is still, it's expected, or not expected, but thought to still be very haunted with their spirits.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most haunted houses in the city itself.
Mm-hmm.
There have been reports of eerie noises, ghostly apparitions.
Apparitions?
Thank you. And a sense of dread when you come near the building. And so there's just a very big kind of a, what would you say, like a black cloud over that area?
Mm-hmm. Bad juju, bad vibes.
Yeah. And then there's also the pirate Jean Lafitte.
Jean Lafitte?
Yeah, sure.
Hmm.
There's a restaurant downtown that is said to have been frequented by him.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where he planned a lot of his kind of defending of the city itself. So he was a pirate,
Mm-hmm.
In that area. And they actually like hired him.
They who? The city?
Yes.
Mm.
To protect the city itself.
Oh, cool.
And so there's restaurants that they claim again that he visited there frequently, but
Mm-hmm.
any restaurant down there is going to say that. So he's also his little band of pirates and stuff like that. But I think the thing about what we're talking about like right now is both of these cities are very, very enriched in old histories,
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of this stuff is coming out of the fact that, like I said, with the Rougarou, that they wanted to, I don't want to say control,
Mm-hmm.
but they wanted to put fear in people,
Yeah.
And so I think that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Because like just reading it, it's just, and I don't believe in ghosts. Like, that.
Yes.
Okay.
And I do.
Yes, you do. But I think it's part of the control thing.
I mean, to an extent, yes, I can agree with that. Certain ones, especially things like the Rougarou and whatnot.
Yeah. The mythological stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, I think there is, some credence to, the spirits in the afterlife, that are still lingering around the world of the living. You mentioned pirates, so I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard.
Okay.
So Blackbeard, probably one of the most famous pirates in history, was a pirate who did his pirating along the Carolina coast, more North Carolina than South Carolina, though he did he had a blockade of the port of Charleston at one point. And this was well before the Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
I think he died in the early 1700s, maybe like, I want to say like 1719, 1718, somewhere in there. But yeah, that's one that I have to make sure to include when we're talking about pirates. So since we mentioned ghosts, let's go ahead and dive into some of the ghostly legends of our respective hometown / home states. And one that was really, again, like I swear, when I moved to the beach, it was like so many things from my childhood becoming so incredibly real and in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was little, I was terrified of ghosts, like terrified. And ghost stories and things like that just freaked me out, which is weird compared to today when I'm utterly fascinated by them.
Yeah.
And that started, in my late teens and stuff when I gotten over the fear and started to appreciate them from a more cultural standpoint for one, but also just from a spiritual standpoint as well.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there were two ghost stories that became very sort of in my face once I moved to the beach. And the first one was the story of the Gray Man.
Okay.
And the Gray Man is a ghost in Pawleys Island, where I taught, where that's where Waccamaw High School is. And shout out Warriors, woo woo. But the Gray Man, again, freaked me out as a kid, but he's actually a helpful ghost. The Gray Man is said to haunt the beaches of Pawleys Island whenever a hurricane is approaching.
Okay.
And actually warning people. And there are some encounters and stories where it's not a matter of just sighting him on the beach or anything, but he is actually like coming up to houses and warning people that danger is approaching.
So he's a good ghost.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. Again, freaked me out because it was a ghost as a child. But
why would it freak you out if he's a good ghost?
the fact that he was a ghost, period, and interacting with the living.
Okay.
Like I said, it just freaked me out. And then the other ghost of Pawleys Island that was very much in my face is the ghost of Alice of the Hermitage.
Okay.
And Alice, her name was Alice Flagg, and she was a young woman who was engaged to be married to a man that her father did not approve of.
Well, that's a very familiar story.
Mm-hmm. And so she basically became very ill, and I forget the specifics of the story, but they were rushing her to a doctor, and her father saw the engagement ring on her finger, and he rips it off of her finger and threw it out the window of the coach. And before she got to the doctor, or shortly after she got to the doctor, I don't remember which, she succumbed to her illness and died. So the ghost of Alice is said to still be searching for her engagement ring, and she is spotted frequently in the cemetery where she is buried, which is All Saints Cemetery.
Okay.
All Saints Cemetery is literally maybe a quarter of a mile from Waccamaw High School. I literally passed it every single day on my way to school.
Okay.
And the grave of Alice is marked just with the name Alice, and people will go there and bring her rings and things like that to try to gain her favor and whatnot, which is kind of sad because it just makes her grave look really trashy because, you know, it's a bunch of junk. But it's set in this beautiful old colonial era cemetery with Spanish moss hanging down and the old church there that is, well, in fact, okay, you know, I don't have it hanging up anymore, but that canvas photograph that I have, the black and white of the old church.
Sure.
I'll put a picture up on Instagram for it, but that's All Saints Church, the old church. Very beautiful place, very, very photogenic landscape. But yeah, it was just kind of funny because, again, you know, I had overcome those fears, but suddenly seeing those things like right in my face as an adult even just kind of like set me aback for a second. And I was like, oh, I used to be terrified of that story, and here I am living among it. Another story that is kind of along the lines of your Rougarou and such. So, and this was one that I had never really, well, I'd heard of it in other forms once they explained to me, but this one was actually introduced to me by my students when I taught there. So when I was researching things for the podcast, I'd never heard this full name. They used to simply refer to them as the Hag or Hags.
Okay.
But the website that I saw it on referred to them as Boo Hags.
Okay.
Yeah. And so basically, if you're familiar with the concept of the succubus, it's that. So the succubus is a female spirit that is said to haunt men as they sleep.
Right.
And make attempts to impregnate themselves.
Wait, what? Okay, explain this one to me again.
So the succubi,
you got me on some freaky stuff here. Let's go. I got, you know.
So they're basically like demons. A female demon is called a succubus. Its male counterpart is called an incubus.
Okay.
Okay. And they are seeking to, like an incubus seeks to impregnate a sleeping woman.
Right.
A succubus seeks to become impregnated by a sleeping man.
Okay.
And so this is like, you know, you would be like cursed for life if this happened and all this sort of stuff. Essentially what it is, though, it is what do you call a myth that explains a scientific phenomenon?
I have no idea.
An etiological myth.
Okay.
But basically it's to explain the phenomenon of sleep paralysis. You know, when you wake up and I forget what part of the brain it is that paralyzes you in your sleep, but it's still active for a couple seconds more.
Okay.
And you can't move when you wake up in the middle of a nightmare or something like that. The myth says that the incubus or succubus is still holding you down or pinning you down. But so the hag is basically because you got to remember in coastal South Carolina, you have the Gullah culture or the Geechee Gullah culture, which is essentially, from, again, kind of like with voodoo, you have West African traditions that came over with the slave trade, and it's a really interesting culture that still survives today from the ancestors of former slaves. Their language is very different, almost like Creole. Okay. I remember when I first started teaching at Carver's Bay, I could not understand what my students were saying because they were speaking with such a heavy accent and with some words even that were not commonly accepted English words.
Yeah.
But it's a very rich culture. Oh my gosh, food, amazing food. But yeah, the concept of the hag or the boo hag was one of the things that came out of that Geechee Gullah culture. So, but yeah, it's the same concept as the succubus or the incubus.
That's really weird.
You've never heard of a succubus before or an incubus?
I mean, I've heard of a succubus, but never an incubus. No, I didn't know there was a difference between the two. I didn't know there was gendered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One's male and one's female.
But a succubus, yeah, because Thomas watches those shows all the time that have.
Oh, yeah.
What was that one where the succubus was the crime fighter or whatever, and she had the roommates or whatever?
Yeah, she was like a detective or something.
That one. And then we just finished, Legends and Lattes, the book we've read, had the succubus that was.
Oh, yeah, but she was a friendly succubus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't. She
was a barista.
Basically, that would use her powers to persuade sometimes, but never to, do succubi things. So, I've heard of them. It's just, I've never heard of an incubus, though. No.
Well, what's interesting is when I grew up, I was all into mythology and things like that. I knew the term incubus, but I didn't know the term succubus until I was a high school senior.
I mean, I've heard of incubus, but as a band, not.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's the only thing I know of it.
Yeah.
It's weird that they don't have gendered versions, though.
Yeah, well, because you got to have one for and apparently the hag, I don't think the hag cares about gender. She'll just come after you in your sleep is the bigger thing. Well, and the hag too is because what was really disturbing was the way they described it to me, because the article that I found online talking about it said the same thing, but they said, yeah, the hag will ride you in your sleep.
Nope.
I was like, excuse me? And so, but basically what they interpreted it as was that she would siphon off part of your soul.
Well, that's what succubi do, but you're saying this hag, I don't even want to use the verbiage. Because you're talking about this succubus will come, or no, this hag will come and ride you and basically suck out part of your soul.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, think about the metaphorical implications there. Same thing.
Oh, I got you. A soul sucking.
I'm going to have to very carefully edit this part of the podcast.
I know. It's a soul sucking spouse or a soul sucking, someone else that basically drains you of your life energy.
Yeah. So what are your takeaways?
I don't believe in none of this. I don't believe in ghosts. I think, like I said, halfway through, I think part of it is a control thing. They want to kind of put fear in you to be able to not really control you, but to make you behave kind of thing.
Well, but what about the ones that are historically accurate?
Which ones?
Like Louis Congo and
that's just that whole thing is that man was put in a bad situation. I don't know if that's actually kind of mythological or anything though.
Well, no, it's legendary though. It's legends that we're talking about.
Yeah, but think of the time frame that was all done in. Those people were kind of ruthless.
Yeah.
So.
And Marie Laveau, she was.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that she existed as a person.
Yeah. So a lot of times these things are things that are based in fact and then get blown out of proportion.
Of course. Like everything in life.
Yeah. That's just like what I was saying about with the different cryptid creatures that are talked about. I mean, especially when you think about it, because Bigfoot is most commonly considered a figure of the Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, you talked about a Bigfoot figure in Louisiana, obviously Boggy Creek down the road here, the Lizard Man in South Carolina. All of these creatures, like I said, I think most of them probably have a very normal of the world explanation that are just under the right circumstances magnified to something that they're not.
Yes.
And so, for things like that, I think that is the most probable explanation.
Yeah.
Ghosts, I mean, they just real. I don't care if you believe it or not.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good. I'm glad you believe in that. Someone's got to. This is still my cup of tea. Like, I question a lot of things like that.
Well, but what is it? Like, you believe in the soul, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what part of your understanding of that is limited by the fact that the soul might choose to hang around in the world?
Because I don't think that that's a choice. I don't think the human soul has the choice for that.
And you don't believe that some of them are then compelled to stay in the world?
No.
Okay.
I don't think, again, I think you're telling me that the soul has a choice after it comes to the point of moving on or passing on. If you believe, if you believe in any kind of higher power, as far as not afterlife, but what happens after we die kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the soul remaining on earth is an option just doesn't go with my idea of what happens after we die.
So it opposes your belief system then,
Yeah.
basically. Oh, okay. That's. I
mean, think about it. Like, okay, so like Roman Catholic, right? Born and raised. And so you have heaven, you have hell, and then we have our precursor to heaven, which is
purgatory. But the Catholic Church has disavowed purgatory now, remember? Because it was being exploited.
Right. By who?
The church.
Which is why I think a lot of these stories and stuff like this play into the unknown of what we don't know of what happens after we die.
Well, yeah, of course it does.
And it's used to control people.
Well, my beliefs, and of course, we're going to get into this a lot more with our religion and science series, but, my belief system, which is based on my own understanding of the world and my own vision and concept of it. But, my belief system is much more fluid in terms of what I think the afterlife consists of, because at the end of the day, I believe that the soul is energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that just like, we know from, the law of conservation of energy, you can't destroy energy. It just changes. And so, I believe that's kind of what happens after we die from a scientific standpoint, is we are the energy, and that energy can, do a number of things and be in a number of places.
Yeah.
And so, I believe there is an afterlife that's sort of, the other side, so to speak, but then that it can also encompass, the space that we're occupying as well.
Oh,
so
that's good. Good for you. I just don't know that I don't know.
Buy it.
I got to see it first.
Well, yeah, that's why we both need to read that book.
Or that's why I need to experience a ghost. Now, if I experience it, then prove me wrong. But
Mom, you hear that?
I mean,
sounds
look,
like a challenge to me.
That's to you. Let my people come visit me.
Well, that's what I was saying. You said a ghost. You didn't say one of your ghosts.
I want
send
my
mine to you.
2 grandmothers, my 2 grandfathers, and Thomas's mom. Come on down.
Mama Betty.
I welcome it.
Well, but they visit you in your dreams, though, all the time.
Not that I know. Not that I know of.
Not that you know of. You've talked about it.
Like once or twice in the past, 5 years.
Well, yeah, they got other more important things to do than just to visit you every night.
Who? There's only so many of us to go around. I'm just saying. And honestly, if you're talking about ghosts in that sense, they don't work on our time frame.
Yeah. Hence what I said. They got more important things going on.
But what I mean is that they can visit me and someone else at the same time.
Maybe.
You put restrictions, earthly restrictions on ghosts now at this point. Because they got to travel to the other person. Are they traveling by car?
I'm not talking about travel time.
I mean, well, then what is it?
I'm just saying, think about, they have eternity in front of them. So, a night.
Right. And what else do they have to do? Live? I mean, they're not living. So what is it?
Yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of things that they do on the other side.
Yeah, my grandma's up there just playing badminton with my grandfather. Sure. They're just in retirement.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm thinking far more interesting things than stuff that we do in the physical world.
But everything in the physical world is opened up to them when you pass.
Yeah. But
Okay,
that's
so
what I'm
then
saying. At that
what
point,
do
I
they
don't
have
think
to do then?
that's what I'm saying. I don't think at that point badminton would be all that interesting.
Do you think traveling the cosmos is more important than
Yeah.
visiting me?
Wouldn't you?
Now, if you have eternity to do it, I think you should stick around a little while I'm around.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe from their perspective of time, they are visiting you very frequently.
Then make it known. Make it
Okay.
known.
Momo Betty, I need your help here. Come on. All right. You ready for trivia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So remember, our categories are geography, entertainment, nature and science, history, sports, movies, music, animals, people and places, art and literature, religion and mythology. Ooh, should we do religion and mythology?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. We're going with quiz 1. What is Islam's holy book?
The Quran.
Yes. Number 2, the oldest route to Santiago de Compostela, first taken in the 9th century, is referred to as the original way or Camino Primitivo and begins where?
Like a state or a city?
I have no idea. It's not a state.
So it's it's a foreign country or something.
Uh-huh. I'm just going to give you this because there's no way in the world you would just guess this. Oviedo.
Okay, I don't know where that's at.
I don't even know what that's talking about.
I was thinking of San Jose.
Do you know the
Well,
way
I mean-
to San Jose? Number 3, which religion uses the Avesta texts?
Muslim?
No, Zoroastrianism.
Sure it is, yep.
4, Shintoism is associated with what country?
China?
Close.
Japan?
Yes. Number 5, if traveling the way of St. James pilgrimage on a bike, what distance needs to be traveled to receive a certificate of accomplishment?
1,000 miles.
Not that many.
I don't know, 500?
Less.
This is not The Price is Right. Just tell me.
5,200 kilometers or 124 miles.
Okay.
I know. I'm terrified.
Am I doing the same category for you?
I guess.
I'm going to give you some not easy ones, but this is going to be quiz 8. I'm just
Okay.
going to go down the list. What is the father of Zeus? Or who was the father of Zeus? Sorry.
Oh, Kronos.
Yes. What is the name of the Hindu Festival of Lights?
Oh, Diwali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What religious group produces the magazine The Watchtower?
Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mm-hmm. Where was Methodism founded?
Germany.
No, it's a more, I don't want to say more common name of country, I guess.
England.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. United Kingdom.
Mm.
And then how many pillars does Islam have?
Ooh, 7.
Nope.
8.
Nope.
6.
Nope.
5.
Yes.
Okay. I should have known that because I actually looked that up not that long ago because I remembered learning it in comparative religion in college. And then it was like a couple months back that I was looking it up. I don't remember what any of them are, but
Oh, look at this. Okay, I'm just going to pull 2 questions just because they're kind of weird. How many animals of each kind does Moses take onto the ark?
how many animals of each kind?
Mm-hmm.
2.
No. Noah had animals on the ark. Moses
Oh.
didn't. The trick question in this stupid book.
Oh, yeah.
But this one's weird. In which city does a certain church forbid burping or sneezing?
In which city does a certain church?
Mm-hmm. There's a church that forbids burping and sneezing in the city, and it's in the States.
St. Louis.
No. Omaha, Nebraska. Look, I have an issue. This is what I'm talking about. Why is a church banning burping or sneezing, which are both biological processes?
Uh-huh. Neither of which you can really help.
I mean, what do you do if you got to sneeze?
I guess you have to get up and excuse yourself. What if it comes on suddenly?
But it
And
said
in rapid succession.
forbidding, not just in the presence of someone else.
Uh-huh.
Forbidden is something that you just don't do no matter what.
What the? Did it say
Again,
what church?
No, it just said,
A
you
certain
think they want
church.
the name of their church? Go ahead and publicize in a book like
well,
that.
no, I didn't know if you meant like a sect. Or
Oh,
something.
no, like a certain denomination or something.
Yeah.
We're about to look it up, though. I almost said, what church bans farting and sneezing?
I'm sure they probably banned that too. Might have to search specifically for Omaha.
No, it pulls it up.
Oh, what is it?
There's a little picture of a kid in front of it, so I don't know.
A picture of a kid?
I I can't read it. And she won't go away.
There's your ghost.
Okay. It doesn't specify.
It just says there's a church in Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
There are claims that it is illegal to burp and sneeze in a Nebraska church, though these laws are not strictly enforced or maybe outdated.
Well, that's what I figured. I was like, the people who go to this church are probably like, no, it was a one-time thing or something. I don't know.
No. Yeah, it doesn't say the church itself. Anyway, okay. And that's all this week of Crazy Facts from your two hosts.
Well, that about does it for this week's episode of From Art to Atoms.
We're putting a nail in this one. Literally putting a nail in this one to keep the ghosts and vampires away.
Everybody have a great week and tune in next week.
Because we don't know what we're talking about next week. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to From Art to Atoms, the Ultimate Curiosity Show, episode number 37. Your hosts are Brandon Shoemaker and myself, Michael Fultz. The show is produced by Brandon Shoemaker and is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe to this show to stay updated on all of our latest episodes and news. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggested topics you'd like for us to dive into, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can email us at FromArtToAtoms@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners, and we value your input. Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay updated on upcoming episodes and behind-the-scenes content. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at From Art to Atoms, as well as our TikTok at _From Art to Atoms. We would love for you to leave comments and likes on our post, and we'll try to give you a shout out on the show. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platforms. Your support helps us reach even more interested minds like yours. Thanks for tuning in this week, and as always, stay curious.